Let's heat up Star Wars content! But first, trigger alert from me, your beloved cardboard guy!
Don't let the internet gaslight you into thinking power scaling is a real science. Remember when Mauler Twin beat up Immortal and Invincible yet? Yeah. I'll explain who's the best Force user according to the whole franchise's cinematic appearance. Don't forget, you can subscribe. May the Force be with you. The poster child for generational trauma used as an excuse for being a villain, Kylo Ren. On paper, Ben Solo should be a god. He's got the Skywalker bloodline, the Solo charm, well, half of it, and he was trained by Luke himself. But on screen, he's basically an unstable nepo baby with a LinkedIn profile he didn't earn. He can freeze a blaster bolt mid-air, which is a cool party trick, but he loses a duel to a girl who just learned that the Force wasn't a myth 5 minutes ago. Kylo represents the volatility of the modern elite. He's got all the resources and all the power, but he uses it to smash office equipment because his grandpa didn't leave him a coherent legacy. He's at the bottom because his power is as fragile as his ego. The company man, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, Obi-Wan isn't the most powerful in terms of raw force output. He's not moving planets, but he's the ultimate blue-collar Jedi. He shows up, he does the work, and he follows the manual even when the manual is clearly written by people who haven't stepped outside their ivory tower in a millennium. He defeated Maul, Grievous, and Anakin twice. His strength is discipline, the kind of discipline the system loves, because it makes you a perfect cog. But that's also his weakness. He's so committed to a failing institution that he couldn't see the coup coming until he was literally living in a cave. He's the peak of middle management power, reliable, but ultimately a servant to a dying dream. We've got Rey Skywalker. Look, regardless of how you feel about the writing, you can't deny she's a powerhouse. She's the personification of instant social mobility. One day she's scavenging scrap metal for food, a victim of the galaxy's predatory economic system, and the next, she's performing Jedi mind tricks without a single day of training. The Force for her isn't a discipline, it's a cheat code. She represents the gig economy version of a Jedi. No long-term apprenticeship, no institutional baggage, just raw, unmitigated talent that the plot requires to save the day. She's strong because the narrative needs her to be a one-person army. It's impressive, but it lacks the weight of the old guard. After Rey, we have the Enforcer, the GOAT, Mace Windu. If the Jedi Order was a police state, Windu would be the chief of police. He's the only one who actually had Palpatine dead to rights in a fair fight. His Varpad style literally channels the darkness of his opponent against them. But Windu is the ultimate symbol of institutional rigidity. He was so busy to take a sit, young Skywalker. He didn't realize he's no longer on the good side, now a grey character. He pushed Anakin away with his cold, bureaucratic approach to morality. He's higher on the list because, in terms of combat, he's a badass beast. But he's a beast in a suit that's 2 sizes too small for the reality of the galaxy. The tool of the military-industrial complex, Darth Vader. Anakin Skywalker was promised freedom and ended up in a life support suit owned by his boss. Talk about a bad healthcare plan. Vader is pure, concentrated terror. On screen, especially in Rogue One, he is an elemental force. He's what happens when you take the most gifted person in a generation and strip away their humanity to turn them into a weapon. He doesn't need fancy acrobatics, he just walks forward and the world breaks around him. He's the alienated laborer taken to the extreme. His body is literally a corporate asset. The ivory tower intellectual Yoda. 900 years of experience. He can catch Force lightning with his bare hands. He's basically the sentient version of an ancient university that has $10 billion in its endowment, but won't lower tuition. Yoda is incredibly powerful, but he's the architect of his own downfall. He spent centuries teaching Jedi to suppress their emotions while a Sith Lord was literally buying the Senate next door. His power is undeniable. He can manipulate the environment with a twitch of his finger, but the price of that wisdom is stagnation. He's the top of the old world, but the old world was too slow to survive. The deconstructionist, Luke Skywalker, specifically Luke who realized the Jedi were a mistake. In his prime, he was a legend, but his greatest display of power wasn't a sword fight. It was his Force projection on Crate. Think about it. He projected a physical, interacting image of himself across the galaxy to embarrass a fascist regime and save his friends. That's the ultimate anti-work move. He defeated an entire army without ever leaving his chair. He reached a level of understanding where he didn't need to kill to win. He's the only one who figured out that the only way to win the game is to stop playing by the established rules. And at number 1, the ultimate monopolist, Sheev Palpatine. Because at the end of the day, power isn't about how high you can jump, it's about who owns the system. Palpatine is the only one who actually won. He played both sides of a galactic war, orchestrated a genocide, and turned democracy into an empire, all while staying within the legal framework of the Senate. His Force lightning is just a flashy bonus. His real power is his ability to manipulate the collective fear of trillions. Even when he died, he had a backup plan. He's the CEO who runs the company into the ground, gets a massive golden parachute, and then gets rehired 10 years later because the board is too incompetent to find a replacement. He is the system, and you can't defeat the system with a glowing stick. So there you have it. A list of people who could move things with their minds but still couldn't figure out how to build a stable society. Star Wars is a tragedy about how power, even mystical power, is useless if it's just used to maintain the status quo or fuel a personal vendetta. See you when the next trailer drops, or don't. Goodbye.